One of the journeys that is represented in the show is the journey of my life. When you're an artist, then the story of your life is illustrated. Here at the exhibit, the life story is mostly shown on the internal panels. I was born in 1951 in Denver, Colorado, to two Luther graduates who were born and raised in the upper Midwest, Lucy Beth Hansen and Joseph Elias Homstad. I first arrived in Decorah in 1969 to attend my sister Mary's graduation from Luther College, and that was when I decided to attend Luther. I have been here ever since. Being an artist is not just a job. For me, it is a way of life. In order to live off my meager income, I decided to create the things I needed. In 1974, I went together with friends and bought 40 acres of land 7 miles north of Decorah. We named our place Springwater Village, and we still exist as a cooperative community. In 1978, my sister Mary died in a car accident. She was a fellow founder of Springwater Village and a Luther grad. I did this painting based on an old family photo and painted a black shape where Mary was because a death in the family leaves a permanent hole in your life. I painted my first mural in 1978 in Jefferson, Iowa. I would go on to paint more than 50 large outdoor murals around the Midwest. This one in Sumner, Iowa, I painted in 2016, and it will probably be my last one. In 1979, I married Andrea Austin, and we began to build our house. I made scale model furniture so I could design the shape and size of each room and where the stairs, doors, and windows would go. I worked for a while as a carpenter in order to learn something about building. I first built my studio. I took down a few old houses in order to get lumber, doors, and hardware. With the help of my friends, I did all the concrete, masonry, carpentry, sheetrock, roofing, wiring, plumbing, and finish work. In the summers, I would do odd jobs for area farmers, and at art fairs, I'd sell prints I had made during the school year. I also learned how to make picture frames and did that for myself and others. This is an isometric cutaway drawing of the house design. In order to save money, I designed the whole house, but built it in 2 sections. That way, I could pay for it as I went and did not have to have a mortgage. The first section in red was built between 1978 and 1982. The second section was built between 1982 and 1986. The house is passive solar and heated partly with wood. I added solar panels to the house and studio in 2021. In 1984, our first child, Paul, was born. It was also the year we paid off Springwater. In 1987, our second child, Amy, was born. She was premature and because of respiratory problems needed 24-hour care. When she wasn't an inpatient, we made our bedroom into an intensive care step-down unit and cared for her with the help from home health RNs. Amy passed away when she was 2 years old. I did this etching based on a drawing I did in the hospital the night before she died. I gave copies to the 30 or so people who helped us take care of her. Our third child, Lisa, was born in 1990. In this year, I was elected to the board of North Winneshiek School and served there for 9 years. Andrea went back to school and got a nursing degree. Her work as a nurse has contributed greatly to the family economy. In 1993, I remodeled the studio to include a gallery by having house movers jack it up 10 feet. I built an exterior wall and then had the crew set it back down. I had a cement floor poured in what used to be the crawl space. I had a philosophy minor in college, and I have always been interested in philosophy and theology. This painting I did as a junior in college. It was on the cover of Lutheran Brotherhood Bond magazine, and they sold hundreds of reproductions. I spent my junior year at Luther studying in Vienna, Austria. In the evenings, my philosophy teacher taught classes in the I Ching and astrology, and his wife taught yoga. It was then I got interested in alternative spirituality. This included an interest in C.G. Jung and mandalas. This first mandala represents the microcosm, atoms, electrons, photons, etc. The second one represents the ecocosm of nature and shows trees in the different seasons. The third shows what I call the theocosm with various religious symbols. And the fourth represents the macrocosm of the universe. Next, I started studying Kriya Yoga and meditation. This is a drawing from that time. Along with my interest in Asian art came an interest in Zen Buddhism. I started sitting at Ryomanji, a Zen Buddhist monastery in northeast Iowa. I continue to do that to this day. As a youngster in Denver, I was in a Boy Scout troop that went camping in the mountains every month year-round. Since then, I've been very interested in the outdoors, and that is probably why my art focuses on landscape. I camped across Europe with my wife, like here on the Isle of Skye. This painting is from the Boundary Waters. This painting is from a campsite on Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. And here is camping in the Grand Canyon. This painting is from a backpacking trip my wife and I took along the Continental Divide in Colorado. I have also done alpine skiing most of my life, and this ink wash painting is from Red Lodge, Montana. I also love cross-country skiing, especially in the backcountry. I also enjoy all types of boating. I have had several sailboats and sailed on many others, like this woodcut off Door Bluff. I like to kayak on the Mississippi, particularly during high water like in this painting, or as in this ink wash painting. This is kayaking in Alaska, and this is from a trip kayaking in the Apostle Islands. I enjoy being out in all kinds of weather, and I like to portray it in my art, as in this painting called Chores, or like the snow in this painting of New York City. There are two prints of rain in the show, Curtain of Rain and Rainy Day. Ever since my time in Austria, I have loved to be outside in the full moon, and many of my pictures are of night scenes. This is one of my first etchings. I did this painting when I was a student in Vienna. It is a painting of the Alps in the moonlight. This painting is of moonlight on thunderstorms from an airliner. Other pictures with moonlight are this painting from Lhasa, Tibet, and this one of a campground in Fayette. Also this one of Whitetail Cabin in the Porcupine Mountains in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We have rented this cabin a couple of times, and you have to ski a trail more than a mile long to get there. Even though I am more than 70 years old, I have no intention of retiring from my job. In fact, I feel like I'm just getting good at what I do.